thicken the line. Some paint's already on the canvas that I can just use, and then others I have to get more paint on my brush. Ooh, I like how it picked up that blue from my center. You can also twist your brush so that you're getting all the paint coming off of the brush. You don't have to keep double dipping. Okay. We're gonna make this flower more than just red. It's gonna have other colors on it because the flower isn't just one uniform color. It's got shade and it's got light hitting it and it's got caterpillars that bit out of it. So we definitely have to add character and more colors to our flower. Okay, I think I've got that one looking pretty wispy. Now I'm going to move over here to this one, which is all yellow. So if you're like me, I used up a lot of my yellow in the background and I need to pour a little bit more yellow. So I'm going to be like Julia Childs and I'm going to pull out my next little one here and dip into my yellow. If your yellow is tainted from before, don't worry about it because you're going to be putting multiple colors like orange and other things on top. So I wouldn't worry about trying to squirt more yellow if you don't have any. Okay, so I'm just going to start putting the wigglies on this one. Here we go. He's wiggling. No straight lines in nature. Oh, now look, he's starting to touch the red one. They're like they're holding hands. You have to decide, is this hand under the red hand or is it on top? Well, I'm going to put it under because otherwise I'd end up with orange. So I'm just going to pretend like it went underneath. I'm making him big. If you want to put your paint on thick, that's kind of cool. It's like you're being Van Gogh. You can have thick paint. You don't have to smooth it out. That might be fun to try if you're not used to that. If you're one of those that likes to smooth everything out, it might be fun for you to kind of leave it on thick. It's like you're painting with a palette knife. Okay, so I have my red one and my yellow one. Just like that. Now, how are we going to make an orange one? Well, that's going to be fun, right? So I'm just going to mix these two that I just used. I don't even have to wash off my brush. So I'm going to take a little red with my yellow. Little red. You notice how I said a little red? Don't do half and half red and half yellow to make orange, or you'll get more red orange rather than orange. So I'm just going to do about 1/4 red and 3/4 yellow to get a beautiful orange. If you want it to be a red orange, right, you're going to use 3/4 red and 1/4 yellow. See, we're going to play chemists tonight. Okay, so this is going to be my orange one. Remember, I'm doing the trio of warms. So this one's not going to be as big. So my little spider mom legs are not going to be as long. And I'm twisting my brush to make the legs skinnier. I didn't switch brushes. I'm using the same brush. Okay, now what do I do? Because this one actually has some that go over the top, right? It has, like they're blowing in the wind. Well, I could fill all that center in, but I'm not going to right now. I'm just going to draw right over the top. So I have my plan. I know what I'm doing. Okay, then there's a few over here, the second row. This is the second row of wind instruments back here. No, I didn't. I was never in the band, but I know my friends would always get mad if they had to play second string. That was sad. I was always the loner in the art room and all my friends were doing sports and band. Okay, so now I have a trio of warm colors. I'm so excited about that. So these others out here are going to be, well, I could make this one also warm. I'm going to make this a cool. This will be a cool color. Maybe I could do 2 warms and 2 cools back here. What is a cool color? Okay, so I kind of made your little cheat sheet thing here. So blues and greens are all cool colors. They have they feel the temperature, they feel colder. And the warmer ones feel warmer. All right, so let's, well, I still have a little bit of red on my brush. I'm just gonna go ahead and make this little guy kind of a red-orange before I clean my brush to do the cool colors. I'm doing some little spider arms. I'm not even counting. I'm not counting petals. That's not the intent. Not tonight. We just want to see them blow. Okay, now I'm going to make a little bit of pink for this guy. He's still considered in the warm. We just added white. And he's going to have a few that go over his center. Okay, now I'm going to wash my brush. When you wash your brush, because brushes are expensive, you want to really take good care of them. I just swoosh it around in my cup. And then I go back and forth on my napkin like this till it comes clean. So it's not quite clean, it's got some orange on it. So I'm gonna swish it again. Do not squeeze the brush. If you squeeze the brush, then you're actually gonna loosen the hair that's glued into the metal part, and you're gonna be really mad because then all your hair's falling out. And we don't need any hair falling out. Okay, so see, it's coming out clean. So I'm ready to go. All right, let's see. I'm gonna go with the cool. That means I'm gonna use some blue. Blue. All right. And he's gonna be over here, a blue mom. Where I live, the blue is the color of the school, the high school. So they probably would ask for blue moms. If that's a thing. I think that's kind of a Southern thing. I don't know if they actually do that anymore where I live. But like the moms you'd wear them as your corsage and they'd be bigger than your face. They're huge and you put all your ribbons on there. It's so fun. Okay, now you have blue and you've got yellow, and I'm gonna make this one be a green one. A little darker than my background. A green mom. I know, like who has green moms? The Incredible Hulk probably had a green mom. Do you know that the Hulk, there's actually an aster for the Hulk, right? There's flowers. I looked it up. All the superheroes actually have flowers that use their names. Okay, so there's my crazy green one. Here's my red-orange one, my pink one, my yellow one, my red one, my orange one. Do you see why I went with blue as a smaller one? Because it's really, it's bold, and it probably would have overtaken my whole piece if I had made that my big one. So you have to kind of think about where you place your color, how much of it. I could, you know, like I did in this one, I had 9. I could add 2 more little blue ones later. But for the sake of time, that's the only ones I'm going to do tonight. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and fill in these centers with something a little darker. So I'm going to go back to my red and my blue. And I'm just going to fill these in. Give it time to dry. Okay, because my centers actually are going to be very bold. Oh, I can't wait to see what you guys are doing. All right, I'm going to fill in between the spidery arms on that orange one. And I'm going to put a center in for this one. I don't care if it's picking up a little bit of the yellow. The point is to make my centers dark. And the reason is because I want to put all those fun little dots in the middle. Okay. You know, I'm kind of making this flower up as I go, right? Like I could have made all the spidery things come out of the middle, but I find it very interesting to show the circles and ovals. There's just something about the shapes that are satisfying. Okay, so I think I filled in now all of the centers of the flower. And I can let those dry. Now I can go back to flower number 1, which is the red one. And remember, I told you there's several colors going on. So I have red, maroon, I have a pink, and I've even got a really deep purple, and then lastly white. So we're not going to do white till the very end, but we're going to add those other colors on top of the red to make the petals look like they're more dimensional. So I'm making sure I don't have any green left on my brush. I'm still using the round brush because the flower is round. I don't want to go to a flat head brush. Typically, think about what it is you're painting. So if it's nature and it's organic, you would probably go with the round brush. If it's architecture or a fence post, you would prefer to go with a flat top brush. So you could make straight lines, right? Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and make up some of that pink. And I've got a little bit of red left here. I'll put it right there, and some white. I'm gonna make a pink side. So I'm gonna pick a side to the petal and make it pink. So I'm gonna pick the right side and just add a little pink to it. Just like that. So red was my foundation pink color, and now I'm adding to it. You can go right on top of your red or go outside the red, because what if you want to make that petal larger? Then go outside of the red. Or if you want to make your petals skinnier because you went too big to begin with, this is how you do it. You can skinny it up with your pink. So I'm just picking one side of the flower. On this side, I'm giving them all kind of the little pink edges. I might switch it up on the other side, and this side gets the pink. This is where I can figure out if this petal is underneath that one, but just by where I put the pink. I hope you're enjoying yourself. So I know that Rosa usually chimes in about this time and talks about my tip links, but they are up here. And if you do decide to give me a little tip for my time, one, I greatly appreciate it. Two, the reason I so boldly ask for that kind of donation is just because of my time bringing these classes to you free. And multiplying my canvases here, I time myself. I actually paint them, and I time myself and see how fast it can go, and all the equipment that comes along with bringing this live to you. So I could go on and on about that, but that's not the fun part. Painting is the fun part. So I appreciate anything or just feedback. You can write me and talk to me about stuff, what you'd like to see me do in the future. I'm always open to ideas. I've never not had a project on my table. as Susan well knows. I'm always working on something. Okay, so now I've got red and pink. I'm going to add some of that eggplant now. That just means I'm going to use the red and the blue and not add white. So just adding my red and blue. Now your red, you might have a different shade of red than I have. I just have a cad red and I think this one is a cobalt blue. Typically I pick a brighter blue when I'm doing still life or flowers rather than the phthalo blue when I'm doing more landscapes. So there's different shades of blue, different shades of reds and yellows. Okay, so I've got my purple going here. I need a little bit more or I'm gonna run out. Okay, so now I'm gonna put a little on the dark side of each of these. This one already was kind of dark, so I'm not gonna mess with him. In fact, he's probably gonna need some more red later. Okay, so let's give this one a little darkness. And this one a little darkness. Oh, now see, my petals are getting closer together. It's going to go much faster on your next flower, believe me. We're just kind of getting set up here. I'm teaching you how to go around the flower here. And they're starting to dance. Maybe this one's going to curl back on itself. That'll be fun. Like let your petals do some interesting acrobatics. You know, maybe that one just does a little curl. You can have fun with these. Sometimes I think it's really fun to pull from your memory of what you think they look like and just they become more fantastical. You know, they're just whimsy out of your imagination. Or you could look at the real thing, go to the store. Right now you can find them and look at them, especially if you're a beginner. If you're a beginner painter, it's always good to study the object. And actually you'll find out things about the object that you never discovered before just by looking at it. I always have my young students start out observing objects. And my wiser students. Okay, so there's my big, you know, it looks dark right now because I don't have any of that pop of the white in the middle or on the petals, but that is my big red one. All right, I'm gonna move on to the yellow one. So I'm gonna wash my brush off. You don't have to wash it too well, not too well, because it can have a little bit of character to it. So this one's got some yellow. I'm gonna make an orange. Yellow and red make orange. So I'm gonna pick one side to be orange. You could make this line as thin or as thick as you want it. You can have it hide and come back into the picture. So maybe there's just a little bit of it there, and then maybe you just see a little bit of it here. Maybe there's just a little orange here. This could be like the petals that are underneath. You know how you have several layers of the mum. That's what makes it so full. So it might look a little bit more in shade underneath it. I'll have this one curl back a little bit for fun. Oh, and this guy has to go underneath that one. Okay, so that one's now got some character. But you can also see I added another 2 colors in here. This one actually has a little bit of the purpley blue, and it also has some green in it. So to make green, gonna make my yellow with my blue. And I'm gonna add a little bit of green veining in the middle of this one. So instead of putting it on the opposite side like I did with the pink and the burgundy over there, I'm gonna put a little tiny bit of green in this yellow line. Just a little bit. I'm not gonna do everything. Because again, that's a cool color and it might get a little too distracting. Okay, the same thing I'm going to do with making kind of an aqua blue. So with the green, I'm gonna add more blue. Add a tiny bit of red. And I'm gonna get an interesting teal color. Okay, and I'm gonna put that as a really skinny line between the petals. You don't have to do every one of them, but it's going to help me see which ones are on the top and which ones are on the bottom. It's still going to look a little dark till we add the white, so don't get frustrated if you feel like your yellow flower is no longer yellow, because it will pop once we put the white on there. Okay, so now I've got this yellow one, the red one, and now I'm going to move to the orange one. Okay, moving right along. If you do not finish this today, no worries, because I don't know how big your canvas is. I have no clue how big you're working or how fast you work. Everybody works a little bit differently, but you'll be able to catch it on YouTube later, and you could stop and start it and finish it for sure. But I think we got the basics down. I think we understand now that the petals have multiple colors. Okay, so I mixed up the same orange that I had before, but this time I want it to have more red for one of my other colors. So I'm gonna mix up a more red to put a little outline around it and shape up these little guys, these little finger legs. Oh, I'm loving these little guys. And you could make some kind of curl, kind of fun. Just imagine them blowing in the fall winds. I bet right now on the East Coast, they're on everybody's doorstep. Or it might be too soon, but I remember having them on the doorsteps. I didn't have rainbow colors, but I definitely had the yellow and the oranges. Oh, I don't want to forget these guys. These guys' petals are blowing over the top. So I want to make sure I put a little bit of the red orange going over the top. Okay. All right, moving right along. Since I'm still in the red-orange zone, I'm going to move up here to this guy. I only did 2 colors down here. I think I'm just going to use white as my third one on the smaller one. I mean, the smaller you get on the little flower, 3 to 4 colors. Let's see, I'm going to do a little bit of red on this one. Maybe he curls a little bit. Just have fun with it. You all are going to impress me, I know, when I look at yours. Of what kind of shape your flowers are taking, how they're dancing. Oh, this one's fun. I like that one. Maybe I'll have a few that went over the top here. I have one rogue one there. Okay, this pink one, I'm just going to use red right next to the pink. He's touching that one. This is the time when you can expand them. If you went too small the first time. All right, I've got all my warm ones done. Time to go to my cool color ones. I washed off my brush. I didn't have to totally wash it off because yellow is in green. So I am going to make up a little bit of the lemon yellow, or limey yellow, I should say, because I'm putting the green with more of the yellow, and I'm going to put a little of that on here, on the green one. I'm twisting my brush. And there's my crazy green one. Looks like a little mop. Oh, I hope that's not a mop head. Oh, nasty. Okay, so the blue one. Let's see. Blue with a little bit of red gives me purple. I'm gonna put some purple next. Ooh, I love that. Really, really making these flowers more bold, more beautiful. We just had to have that plan first. We had to know where everything was going. And then all the rest is just finessing it, adding to it. They always say plan your plan or plan to fail. So I love having a little plan. And even if I go off kilter a little bit or a lot, I had a plan. Okay, I love how this one's just got a flop in. That's really neat. And once we add the white, it's really, really going to be awesome. So I'm not worried about the fact that I can't quite see my centers. The white, like I said, we'll add at the end. So now that we have all of the flowers established with their primary and their secondary colors, we're going to put in some stems. We're going to work on the stems, and then we can move back to the center because they'll be dry. So stems, well, I don't really, they're really more of a filler in the background, and they're actually acting as a connector between them all. So I'm not really concerned about a stem and the dark and the light side of it. Think of it just like a random stick back there. So what I have here is all the colors mixed together that kind of makes that dark brown. So I don't have brown on my plate, but guess what? When you mix them all together, you get that. So I've got some blue left on this plate, and I'm going to put some red with it. So that's already a little dark, but when you add a little yellow to it, now I'm getting a pukey kind of lavender, but it just means that I need to keep adding more red and blue. I put too much yellow and it had too much white in it. Now I'm using a lemon yellow, so my brown looks a little on the pukey side, you know, like a pukey greeny brown. And I'm going to keep adding red to knock down that fact that I don't have cad yellow, I have a lemon yellow. But that's going to be dark enough to put underneath my work here. Okay, here we go. I'm ready. Okay, so I am gonna start with the yellow one because that's the one I can see the best. And I am gonna put a stick under there. You can make it as thin or thick as you want. When I did it on the smaller canvas, look how small they are. Can you see the sticks or stems? They're pretty small. And I have 1, 2, 3. There's my odd number things again. So I'm going to have one that goes, whoops, I just put a big old swath of my dark brown. Okay, one that's going right here. There's a little piece of it right there. And he's gonna come out the other end. Okay, so there's one. All right, now I'm gonna have another one. Let's see, kind of through here would be nice. Because I've got a big blank spot right there. See, it's kind of a filler. It just tells you where to go. After you've gotten everything drawn, you gotta kind of look around your canvas and say, do I need a leaf? Do I need a stick? What do I need? So I didn't plan that part. It's just, as an artist, you get to look around and see opportunities to add things. Okay, so there's another line. Now I think I'm gonna do a third one because I like thirds. And he's gonna go like this. I'm gonna make this one thinner. That doesn't have to be real defined, right? It's in the background. Okay, now I've filled that in. Guess what? We get to work on the centers now. Yay! All right, centers. So we're gonna make little dots. I cleaned my brush off pretty well as I don't need to do it a whole lot. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with this one right here. And I'm just gonna make a little lavender, or you could do baby blue, something more pastel-y. Okay, and I'm gonna start dotting. Make all those little seeds. And then I'm gonna stop. Okay, and then I'm gonna put them down here because we're gonna make 3 colors of seeds. And I'm gonna stop. And then I'm gonna come over here and do that. Dot, 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 dot. They don't have to be perfect. You could even use the other end of your brush to dot like that. Or you can use a Q-tip if you are wanting to be more particular about your dots. Okay, I'm gonna have some more up here. And a few poking in over there. I can't really see much in this one, but he does have a few dots. And this guy has some too, but I can barely see him. Okay, so that is the lighter blue, or the kind of lavender that I mixed up. Now I'm going to do just red dots, because what fun is that?
Deborah, I'm gonna go ahead and just read out one of these questions on the chat. It's just the one question.
Okay.
And it just says, how was the orange made? Red and yellow? I don't know if you clarified that already, but.
Yes, okay. Yes. So use your red and yellow. So right here, the red and the yellow, and there's my orange right there in the middle. They love each other. And the more red, you get a red orange. The more yellow, it's a yellow orange. Yes. Now I am just going to continue to dot. I'm putting in a few little red dots along with my baby blues. Not that many, because red is pretty powerful. Okay. How about a few of the lavender? I haven't added white yet. That's coming. That's the exciting part. White just kind of ties everything together. You notice I don't use black at all. Black isn't even on the color wheel. It's the absence of light. There's a few instances where, of course, I will use black when I'm doing maybe a graphic one. Like some of my work I do, I outline a few things. Depends on the use, what I'm trying to accomplish. If you're going to see it far away, how soft I want it to be. Okay, so everything now has 3 colors of dots, and I definitely want to go for some white now. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so excited. This is like the piece de resistance that you don't want to skip. So it's like the icing on the cake, literally. All right, my white has been waiting to be used here. I had some fun with my students yesterday. I love to play with all your senses, right? And so I added some vanilla to my white, and they said, "Mrs. Goley, what is that smell?" It was so funny when they were trying to figure out what it was, and I was like, "What do you think it is?" They're like guessing chocolate. Make sure you seal your work though when you add some. I added chocolate too to the brown. It was really funny. Okay, here we go. White. So we're gonna have a few white dots now. You could put them up to one side of the center if you want that to be the side that's kind of facing the sun more. Okay, now the fun part. So I'm gonna start to go around all of my spider legs, okay? So I'm gonna go back to Mr. Red over here, and I'm not gonna outline everything, all right? I'm just gonna do it in some key spots. So think about how the light is gonna hit this petal. So I'm gonna do a thin line on that one, maybe just halfway on this one. Maybe it's just the bottom part of this one. The painting is going to tell you where to put it because you'll have some gaps and some things you need to clean up. And that's where you have opportunities to put your white. That's why I don't get kind of hung up on trying to perfect anything. There's no perfect in art, just opportunities. So, if you got a little gap here, or maybe you meant to put this one on top of this one, it's your opportunity with this last color to engage that area or make it pop out or hide something you didn't want. And now my rainbow flower is coming to life. Maybe you just want it on the tip right there. So now that one really, it looks like it's on top of this one. All right, now I'm going to fix this one so that really helps know that it's on top of that stick back there. And this one, I could clean up this one a little bit. I'm going to come back in and pop it again with a little bit more red. I can tell, I think I want a little more red where it's bulbous toward the center. But while I still have the white, I'm going to keep going. So I'm going to put a little white up here, a little white here. I'm so glad you asked that question about orange. Because like I said, today we are color mixing a lot. We did the pastels in the back, and then we're doing all these bold, all the primaries and making secondaries, and orange is a secondary because it's the two primaries making orange. So we're doing a lot of mixing today, and so your questions are very valuable if you don't quite get something. Okay, well, maybe this guy's on top of that one, so you gotta go like that. He's just flopping over. He's kind of tired. All right, I'm gonna go over here to this yellow one. Get rid of too much green that I had in there. Or too much orange. So it really looks yellow now. It's your opportunity to really reshape it. But you had to start somewhere. I think that's the hardest part, just getting some paint on the canvas and not feeling intimidated by it all. Wow, it's really coming, it's really dancing, it's really coming to life. I'm gonna skinny up this little green line because I thought that was a little too much green. That's okay, I got a little heavy-handed to begin with. This one wants to be on top of the other one, so I'm gonna shape him a little bit better. And this one needs a little light coming out of it. Awesome. All right, now I'm gonna work on this guy. He's got a little white. He's got some coming over the top. Some underneath. One over the stick. He looks very fancy. Your flowers can be fancy. And let's do a little on this one. Swing it around. And let's see, got one like that. I know, next time you go to the store now, you're going to be looking for all the colorful ones. You're not going to just get the ones you normally get. You're probably going to ask the florist, do you have any blue ones? There's going to be a run on blue mums. All right, here we go. Oh, I love these coming over the top. Just flipsy flopsy. I don't have my brush wet, right? I'm dipping right into the white paint without wetting the brush because I want it to be more opaque and not watered down. When you're working with acrylics, it's not like watercolor. Not the same medium. I'm teaching a different class in watercolors. In fact, if you join me on the 22nd, we're working in watercolors. And I wanted to show you a little bit of what that is. Da-da-da! So get ready to do that class. You can sign up for that now. It's up online. And if you need supplies for that, please order them on my Etsy site by Saturday so I have time to get them to you. If you're picking them up local, which is fine, if you're local, you have a little more time, but if I have to put them in the mail to you, I definitely got to get them together sooner than later. Okay, so now they have some highlights, what I call highlights, like when you highlight your hair. And now I really want to pop up these centers. Remember I told you I thought that my red one needed a little more red. So this is where I go around and I just check everything out and make sure things are popping the way I want. So I'm going to just pop up that red a little more. Just the bright red, because I love red. And maybe I'll do it here a little bit more. He needs a little something. And you could spend, another half an hour just going around and looking at your flowers and have fun with it, right? Just have fun making them pop out more. To make your centers pop out more, you can see that I kind of feathered out some of the purple. So I encourage you to do that with the last few minutes that we have, and then I'm gonna put my stuff down and get to see what you're creating. So around my centers, I'm just gonna take my brush and feather out the purple going around the center so that that bee can find it. It just softens the circle edge ink too, right? It just gives it a nice little softening. I don't need to do it so much on those. I might need to do it over here, but I'm going to do it in orange on this one, not purple. So I'm going to mix my yellow with my red. And give it a cute little feathering. I'll call this feathering. Yeah. Yay! Give this one a little more orange, yellow. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. Very fun. And then don't forget to sign your work. That's really important. Be proud of what you do, always. If you have to, you could switch to a much smaller brush, like a number 2 or a 0, or you could sign it with a paint pen or something else. Try not to use a Sharpie because it isn't acid free, and over time it will eat through your painting. So it might last 10 years and then it's just going to fade away, and then you'll have a little mark there. So do sign your work. And I always do mine with whatever I am using as my medium. So if I'm painting with acrylics, which is what I'm using tonight, I'm going to sign it with acrylics. You know, but if I'm working in fabric, I'll stitch it in. It just depends on what I'm working on. So yeah, you want to use what you have. Now, I also there was one last thing I did, and a more filler, I did dots in the background. And those are fun too. Of course, you could have a few little dots in the wind. Who doesn't love dots? I love dots. Or you could splatter over the whole thing. Splatter paint. I mean, I've got a few opportunities where maybe some things were flying by. And I can put a few dots in. And voila, there is your rainbow mums. How fun is that? Oh my gosh, I'm excited to see what you've done. So if you do come back in a couple of weeks and paint with me on September the 22nd, which is a Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. So we do one of these in the evenings and we do one in the noon hour, so people can maybe take a little lunch break and do these things. And so we are going to be working in watercolor. Oh, I think I have it upside down. So you could have your flowers just big, like your mums, or you could have it in a vase, like I have done here. And then, of course, if you're not into flowers, because we're going to then take a whole break from that, you might want to be into giraffes. Yay! So you can order that kit online too if you want to. Coming up would be owls. Oh my gosh, those are going to be fun. Yes, owls. And for those of you who like leaves, I think it's going to be something fun for everybody. And maybe you're a moon child, so you get to have a moon theme too. Ta-da! That's going to be fun. So there's something for everybody. And at this time, I think we're going to turn on your mics, and then you get to show me your work. So I'm excited to see it.